I've always said celebrity worship is a poison, a disease. There's nothing good that can come from basing your happiness and your entire life around somebody that doesn't even know you exist. But I feel like people misconstrue this when I say it and they think that there's no celebrities that I like or admire. But this is just completely wrong, and you should feel bad for being that wrong. In fact, it makes me sick that you'd be so outright wrong. There's plenty of celebrities that I like and admire the work of, and today I'd like to introduce you to one of them. There's that expression, never meet your heroes, and that's super true. Unless, of course, your hero is Tim fucking Schaefer. This man is a saint. Tim Schaefer and Double Fine are the geniuses behind classics like Psychonauts and Brutal Legends, and most recently Psychonauts 2, and these are among some of my favorite games, and I recently got the pleasure of talking to him. I got to be blessed by Tim Schaefer. I got to throw a door on his head and take a peek inside, and I just want to share that with all of you. Also, just want to give you a little heads up. This is my first interview style thing I've ever done. We've had guests on the podcast, but typically we just talk about butthole and penis there, so that's a little different than this. And I finally understand how K-pop stans feel when they look at like BTS pictures where they start like fanning themselves so they don't pass out and they're like losing their fucking mind. That's how I felt here when talking to Tim. So I'm just giving you a heads up because sometimes I'll just vomit a bunch of words out as they pop into my brain. So I was just a bit nervous. Well, it is absolutely lovely to meet you, Tim. You're one of my personal heroes, especially when it comes to video games. I think I've put collectively the most amount of time into Brutal Legends and Psychonauts than any other single-player games ever made. So,
Wow.
I don't say that lightly because I'm something of an addict. So
Yeah. Well, thank you for playing, right? And thank you for having me here. I hope you liked them. We were just hate playing them.
Oh no, I love them. They also, well, I don't know if this would be like a compliment or not, but they turned me from a good Christian boy into a sinner. The first time I cheated in a game was in Psychonauts. When it was the Milkman conspiracy and the rainbow squirts, she opens the door and you're supposed to like either cloak by or blast her. Couldn't figure it out. For days I got stuck there and I had to use Game Winner's cheat codes to get all the powers, and then I finally figured out that I'm supposed to cloak.
Well, I'm glad that we helped you advance to the next level. I mean, I don't think it is cheating, just adding new powers to your repertoire.
It taught me that I wasn't the smartest kid in the world. Like, there's always going to be challenges that I'll face, and it's all about how I accomplish them that'll define me.
I mean, there are multiple solutions to any problem, and you found one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So Psychonauts 1 is one of my favorite games ever made. This is something I even talked about on the podcast Jackson mentioned a little bit ago. When I first went to college, I tried to reinvent myself as like this mysterious anime character, which was a horrible idea, obviously. And one of the things I wanted to...
Like covering one of your eyes. And
Yeah.
Hair, maybe?
Yeah, like a little tune-in headband over my eyes, so it'd be like really mysterious. One of the ideas I had was taking the Psychonauts disc and putting it on a chain and wearing it like a necklace. But I got
like Flavor Flav?
Yep, kind of like Flavor Flav, but like the best
Anime.
version of it.
Yeah.
So my friends talked me out of it, saying that that probably wasn't going to be good for me. What do you think? Do you think if I had gone with that, I would be in a better position today or worse?
Well, look at us here now. I mean, we're here right now. I feel like everything happened perfectly to lead to this moment. So I think trying it and then not doing it was probably the right solution.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Although if you'd taken any like bullets to the chest or anything that could have been stopped by that disc, I'd feel really bad.
True.
If you held up right now a Psychonauts disc with a bullet just trapped in it, that would be the best end to that story.
Oh, it would have been amazing. Yeah, that would have been super poetic. When I think of good level design, I think of Edgar's Mind from Psychonauts 1. Do you have like a favorite level you've ever created? It doesn't have to be Psychonauts exclusive, but just across all of the games you've made, is there anything that really jumps out at you as like, wow, I absolutely crushed it there?
Well, you have these big, design teams, and each level designer has their own style. And I mean, I love Black Velvet, and back in 2000, we started in 2005 it shipped, and like I had never seen Black Velvet in a game before, so I was really happy with that and the way that it looked, and it was so beautiful by the time it was done. But I really like strange things that mess with your sense of scale, like Water of the World. And Water of the World, you're big, and then you're little, and then you're smaller, and then you're big, and it kind of loops around. And I always think playing with that kind of scale kind of messes with your mind in a funny way. And so I like that level. I'm not, I know, yeah, that's the level that I'm really proud that was in Psychonauts 1.
Yeah, there's no bad levels like in any game you've ever made. So
Wow.
there's no wrong answers here. If you said something, it's not like I was gonna flip over a table like, "Yo, Edgar's Mind wasn't your favorite." I just
Well,
love.
some people would be very upset about Meat Circus. That's always pet level people hate. But I stand by Meat Circus. It was hard, but it was well, I don't want to say it's fair. It was hard and unfair, but
That's what
it was
made it
also a
special.
blast.
That it puts hair on your chest. If I remember correctly, it got patched to be easier, right? Or was that just a rumor?
No, there was a bug that was making a couple things harder. Like a couple of collision volumes were way too big on the flames and stuff like that. So it might have made it easier, but it actually made it more like the design was correct. So that was
Okay.
in the PC version when we released on PC finally.
Okay, that makes sense
Did you
then.
think it was too hard? Did you get through it? Did you cheat?
Oh no, I cheated. Yeah, 100%. Like when I first
Oh, how did
played,
you cheat?
there was a, if I remember correctly, when you give yourself all the powers, there was also a cheat for, I think it was extra lives as well, so you could spam that and get it back. I'm having to
Hmm.
really dig through the deep recesses of baby boy Charlie's mind here, but I know for a fact I got hung up there because it took me a long time to finally get through it even once. And then I beat it a couple more times after that, got good at it. I even speedran the game like a few years ago. I got into the speedrunning community for it and tried to like blast
Hmm.
those runs out. I know you've seen a speedrun for it because I remember watching a video going through it.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah.
That
Uh,
was that changed my view of speedrunning. Like I always liked speedrunners, but having your own game, watching your own game get played by speedrunners is horrifying because they use bugs, they use like exploits, and they get around things. And you're like, all of us watching him do it, we're like, oh no, like we try because you try to make your game bulletproof, and they find these things that. But then by the end of the video, we were all clapping for him because we were so excited that he'd found this. He'd found a million new ways to enjoy Psychonauts. Like, and who are we to say that's wrong?
exactly. There are a couple developers I know that really take great offense to it. So it was refreshing to hear that you guys just had like a really open mind and even enjoyed watching it. Because I don't understand like why anyone would be upset about it, right? Like it's just a deeper form of flattery. Like they played it so much, they've mastered all these things. Like that's why I love speedrunning. To see games played differently and like in
Mhm.
completely different ways is just super cool.
I had to be converted. I had to be led into the other side, and now I love it.
Oh,
And we think about that when we develop. We're like, we're putting this thing in there. Speedrunners are gonna. If you can't skip this cutscene, that's really gonna be bad for speedrunners.
is
And
it?
some bugs we leave in. We're like, no one's gonna find this except for a speedrunner, and they'll be so happy when they find this that we, let it fly.
Oh, that's nice. Is that something you think about sometimes? Like, how can I really just ruin a speedrunner's day? I'll make this unskippable.
Not anymore. Now we're on the same team.
So I want to talk about Brutal Legends for just a minute. I was nutty at that game. You had the multiplayer component, and I used to run absolute train across most players in that. Was there
Oh,
ever?
really?
Yeah. Did you ever expect Brutal Legends to have like a competitive multiplayer scene?
I always hoped it would. It's funny, lately I've talked to some people who aren't aware it has multiplayer. They think of it as just as a single player adventure game, because it has this big. But we started as a multiplayer game, and then the single player game was added as a tutorial for the multiplayer game, and then most people really only experience the single player game. It has Jack in it, and it's got all this. It got more and more spectacular as we added more and more to it. But I love the multiplayer game, and every October 13th, the anniversary of its shipping, I play it with people. We should play it on October 13th. I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
October 13th.
I'll have to really shake the rust off. It's been a while, but I was an absolute menace on that
Really?
game. I was a
Did you have the
menace.
unblockable combo? I think we patched that too.
I'm
There
trying
was like a
to.
stun lock attack you could do. Like you could get into a roll with someone, and they couldn't get out of it. But then someone finally figured out how to break out of the unstoppable combo. But
Oh man,
um,
maybe it was deeper than I thought. Maybe I wasn't as good as I remember. Then that doesn't ring
I
any
figured out a
bells.
lot of stuff. I am not the best player. In fact, I've never fully 100%ed that game because I don't have 50 ranked victories in multiplayer. That was one of the achievements. And that's really why I play every year, because there's got to be some new people that I can beat a couple times. And in
Just chip
50 years,
away.
I'll have that achievement. I'll have that achievement finally.
Absolutely, it's such a fun game too. That's nice to hear that you still go back and play the multiplayer on it. I
Yeah,
look.
we did the programming in peer to peer, so it doesn't need any servers or anything. So it could last forever. It could be playable forever.
Oh,
So
it will last forever. Even if humans don't make it all the way, I think that game will persist.
to educate future species inhabiting the planet what life was like, and it was like Brutal Legend. There were giant walking monsters and demons and hot rod cars.
Absolutely, that's all we need, baby. Rock and roll, blood, gore, all the good shit.
Would be cool if future species actually thought that's what life was like. It was like a heavy metal album cover. It was like a much cooler version of ourselves to put forward. It's like, yeah, that's what Earth was like.
Oh
We
man,
really need cars
if,
and guitars.
if only that was our legacy. Yeah. So now to switch gears, let's talk about Psychonauts 2. How excited were you to finally get that out after 16 years, right?
It's been, I mean, it's been a long time. I was surprised by how easy it was to step back into it, partially because we had a lot of the same team was still around for Psychonauts 2, the same team that worked on it, and also the same voice actors like Richard Horvitz from Invader Zim, and and Nicky Rapp and all the main cast. Everybody actually was able to come back. So and we had the same music composer, Peter McConnell. So it sounds and it looks, character design and everything. And so that was nice. But then we have a bunch of new teams to try and improve stuff. Anyway, that was really nice. But then shipping it has been amazing because the response, one of the reviews even said that it doesn't, if I get this right, doesn't blow asshole, and I was really touched by that.
That sounds like a really strong reviewer.
Yeah, we are going to put that in our accolades roll. Like a laurel wreath. Doesn't blow asshole.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's where it deserves to be. I think I know who you're talking about. I think they finally deserve that credit, to be honest. They've been working real hard, giving those objective reviews.
I mean, that's what makes it pay off, if you tell the truth every time.
Playing that game has been an absolute pleasure. I streamed all of it, and people were just so excited to go back in and see all of it. One of the big things, you already mentioned him, but Richard Horvitz coming back is huge. People absolutely love that. Like Richard Horvitz, that's a name, that's a voice you hear and immediately recognize. So the fact that you're able to put together the exact same team, and well, at least most of the same team, to bring this back to life has just been incredible. Absolutely worth the wait.
And a little bit of a reunion for Invader Zim fans, because we brought in Ricky Simmons, who plays Gurr on Invader Zim. He plays your projected clone, like your projected archetype that follows you around. And they have some similar dynamics, and I thought that was really fun to hear that voice again.
Yeah, chat went wild. They loved that. So how about in Psychonauts 2? Do you have like a favorite moment when designing it, or like a favorite level in there or anything?
I love, it's just kind of a I don't want to say sad story, but it's a very serious, somber story about Ford's brain. Like it comes together in this, it kind of gets really intense, and I wasn't really sure how dark that would go when we started it. But that was a story that I wanted to tell. As soon as Psychonauts 1 was done, I was writing down ideas about, like, why is Ford's brain the way it is? Why is it broken up in all these pieces? And, like, what would happen if you put it together again? And what if you found out that you maybe shouldn't have put it back together again? I think it was always really interesting. And then being able to put it together, and those final cutscenes where the mirror's all shattered and you're seeing through both sides of it, the team, like all these people, came together to make those cutscenes perfect. And I think that really, I'm really happy with how that worked out.
Yeah, I think that was a huge standout. So the story felt a lot more serious and a lot more like heavy at points than Psychonauts 1. Like, it was an extremely fun, of course the comedy was there, it was great, but it was also like really engrossing to get like lost in these characters and see them like more in depth this time around. I really enjoyed seeing that, so I think you guys absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's interesting because it's like maybe it's like Empire Strikes Back. The second chapter is darker.
Oh, yeah.
Or Monkey Island 2, bigger and darker.
I
think that was the subtitle of it. Monkey Island 2, bigger and darker.
Psychonauts 3 going to get into some really heavy stuff: war crimes, PTSD, real dark things.
I mean, it's like people hearing about it might think that it's a really depressing game to play, but I still think it's really lighthearted, like happy, lighthearted, happy game to play, even though it goes to these places. It's just like, that's life. If you've lived a life for a while, that there's bad things that happen, but in the end, it's an upbeat thing.
Oh yeah, the journey at the very end, everyone's in a very good spot. It's a really enjoyable game to play, even when it does have those heavy moments, and I think that really helps bring the whole package together and make it even better. So I just think it was great all around.
Did I pick the right favorite level, or did you have a different one that you wanted?
Well, Psy King was the right answer, but I'll just let all of it slide, okay, to be honest.
I didn't want to spoil that. There's some story spoilers in that one, that like the identity of the Psy King and all that stuff. But just getting Jack, he's such a Jack Black is such a he's so game for anything. Like, he's so up for like doing creative stuff, whatever it is, and he was a big Psychonauts 1 fan, which is how we got him in Brutal Legend, was that he had really liked Psychonauts 1. So being able to bring it back full circle and have him in Psychonauts 2 meant a lot.
Oh yeah, getting Jablinski Games on board is also huge. That caught me by surprise. I had no idea, that he was going to be jabling some jables in there. So that was really a nice surprise getting to that level.
Did you really not know that? So when the ball
No,
started talking, did you identify him right away, or did you take it
oh,
with like wait, who?
almost immediately when I heard it in there. But like going into the game, I tried to avoid like watching anything because I wanted to come in there completely
Mhm.
fresh. Just full blown, not knowing anything, and just be taken aback by all of it. So I had no clue he was like credited in there or anything.
Yeah, and he gets a song.
Yeah, he
And,
gets a banger.
yeah, it's a good song. That was fun because I got to write lyrics for it, and Peter McConnell did the music, and then Jack sang it. It was like, oh my god, dream gig.
Oh, it was fantastic coming together in a beautiful concert. Well, not to spoil, okay, not to spoil anything, but yeah, it
It's a
comes
beautiful
together.
concert.
Yeah, a great maybe concert thing at the end. So, what's been the most rewarding experience so far about getting Psychonauts 2 going? Just seeing the reception, or has like the development been like super fun, or
Well, development was long and hard actually, like 5 years, and there was, that kind of story. Game development goes like has roller coaster like ups and downs, and it was a big struggle at a point. Like there's always a point in the middle where you're like, is this game gonna be good? Is it gonna get done? And we lost our publisher, and like some bad things happened. So the most rewarding thing is seeing the really great response that the game has gotten, and seeing the team feel that, like the team worked very hard on it, and they get to see that the game not only just got good reviews, but seems to actually, like, some people really matters, like they feel it, like the seeing that the game brought joy to people, I think is really great for the team to be seeing, and so that's been really fun.
oh, absolutely, and I can assure you, it brought a lot of joy to at least one gamer
Yay.
out there.
Yeah.
Let me check some questions here. Sorry, this is like the first time I've done like an interview. Usually on our podcast, all we ever ask about is like masturbation, so it's not really applicable here.
That's one of the themes that was really well hidden in the game.
Yeah, oh yeah, I was talking about
Most
that on
people won't
stream.
even pick up on it.
It's like little Easter eggs. So, what are the future plans for Psychonauts going forward from here?
I think take a little break from Psychonauts. I hope people love the game, and I hope they play it for a long time. Like, we always like to do something new and surprising. We've done Psychonauts 2, and then we remastered all these old games from the 90s that we did at LucasArts. And Broken Age was a game we did before that, and that was an adventure game, so kind of a backward. So we've been doing this kind of retro stuff for a few years, since like 2012, and I would love to do something brand new that no one's ever heard of before, which people don't like until you do it, and then they like it. I'm like, oh.
Well, I'm pretty excited about that. Is it
Yeah.
something that's already getting the ball rolling, or is it right now still just in that like marinating idea stage?
But we're both. We have multiple things going on, and we have some things that are rolling, some things that are starting to roll, some things that are marinating. Sounds like a meatball. Like you got meat, yeah. Some
Yeah,
things are just soaking. Yeah.
getting the juices in there, letting it all just kind of assimilate. So then, what about Games Pass? Because typically, well, as like an outsider looking in, when I hear Games Pass, I have to wonder like, how does that even work? I don't even know how that makes money. It just seems like such a good deal. It sounds like I'm sponsored by Games Pass to say this, but like it
Yeah.
genuinely makes no sense to me. So can you just like enlighten me a bit, open my third eye on how that whole thing works?
Open my third eye. I love the idea of we got acquired by Xboxes, so of course I'm part. So I just think it is, as a gamer, it's a really great deal. It makes sense for them because they're subscribers. They get that money every month, and it's a good deal. But for us as developers, we like to make games that are, some might say a little weird, or like surprising and creative. I like to say like new and weird, and things you haven't seen before is what we like to do, like Psychonauts, and Psychonauts 2. And I think, in a physical store, if you went in and you had like a $70 choice to make, two physical games, you'd probably go with the game that was more comfortable and familiar than the weird game. You'd like, some people would, but I think on Game Pass, you see a weird thing, you're like, what the heck is that? It's like no risk at all. You download it, it's the time it takes to download is the only risk. And so I think more unusual games like Double Fine games will just thrive on Game Pass. I think it's a perfect place, and it will lead to more creativity and more unusual things, and more people taking chances.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great thing, to be honest. Again, it makes no sense to me like how it works from a business perspective, but I'm very glad it exists, and I'm glad to hear that developers are seeing a nice benefit from it as well. Has the like sales and everything on Psychonauts 2 been good? Because I remember in Psychonauts 1, it kind of didn't like explode with crazy marketing numbers. Unfortunately, even though it should have, I bought like 3 or 4 copies of that game.
Well, thank you. That's awesome. I mean, I think, yeah, it's been doing really well, and it's been getting great response. And I think that has to do with that way that it's released. You know, that people are willing to take a chance on it, and they've been definitely willing to take a chance on this time. It's great to hear people loving it, and because we worked really hard on it. You can tell the team like put their heart and soul into it. Like it's really like has a lot of little touches that everybody on the team just really cared about it. You know.
Yeah, you can absolutely feel that. Even in just some of the NPCs you talk to, or even just some of them doing some like chores around like the areas, you can genuinely see like everything was kind of crafted by somebody who had an idea in there. It's not just thrown in for the sake of taking up space.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has a purpose. Everything had thought behind it, and I think that really brings it alive.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's like we try to just make it feel like a real place where you feel like you've been like a place that you miss when you're not playing the game. You're like, oh, I want to go back and see what those people were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice little family in there. So outside of video games, what are some of your hobbies? What do you like to get into?
But see, outside of video game hobbies are also video games. Like I like old retro games, like these old Atari games over here. And outside of video games,
There's got to be something out there. There's a wide world.
I also video games, and then let's see. Now I feel like I'm filling out some sort of Tinder profile. Well, I like snowboarding, and I long walks on the beach, and reading, and I like science fiction. That feels like it's all related to the same nerd bundle of like nerdy interests, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. For me, like the only hobbies I have outside of video games are like doing dumb, stupid shit that also still kind of ties into video games anyway. So I'm kind of in the same boat. It's a question I wouldn't be able to answer, but I figured I'd toss a hard ball at you in case you had anything cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if anything in my room is not game related. Oh, jigsaw puzzles. That's a COVID thing. That's more just like a quarantine hobby. Right?
Last resort kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, buying old jigsaw puzzles off eBay. That's a hobby, right?
Oh, no, it definitely counts. Playing with like
Have you
Lincoln
taken on
Logs.
any new hobbies during quarantine that you didn't do before?
A really unhealthy one, yeah. It's called mental illness with addiction. Like I have been addicted to collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards,
Oh
unfortunately.
my God.
Yeah.
Well, really? Do you have them all yet?
Yeah.
Or is that more of a Pokemon thing? To give away?
Unironically, I have every single Yu-Gi-Oh card from every set that is
But you know, the
ultra
thing is,
rare.
that's going to pay off later in life. When you're like, you know, someday someone that's going to really pay off. Someone's going to be like, you have every Yu-Gi-Oh card? I'll marry you. I don't know. I try to think.
No, it'll probably just end up with me getting robbed. Like a burglar will come in and like their eyes will just light up like money signs in their eyes, like Mr. Krabs. Like, oh my god, this is it.
But that must have been really exciting during the hunt. But now that it's done, where do you
Yeah.
put all those feelings into the next collection?
I just keep convincing myself there's definitely more things I can do with it. So I bought frames to put them in. They look cool in them though. So I mean, that's pretty exciting, I guess.
Wow. Wow. Does that take up a lot of space in your house, or is there a whole room that's just a Yu-Gi-Oh room?
It's a whole Yu-Gi-Oh room.
And you just go and sit in it, and you say, like, I nailed it. I did it.
Like a supervillain, yeah. Just put like a little pipe in my mouth and just spin around in a chair, just looking at it all.
A little crown.
Yeah.
Like, I did it. I did it. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Great.
It feels good and awful at the same time. Just one of those things.
So you must be ready for quarantine to be over if you're finished your Yu-Gi-Oh collection.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to like get out into the world and like reassimilate into society. So that way I'm not like this, you know, like caveman weirdo who doesn't know how to talk to people anymore. Like crowds scare me. Like if somebody coughs or something, it's like a gunshot. I start like running and like ducking.
I feel the same way. It's a little work getting used to being like, oh my God, I took the subway the other day. What?
Oh my god. I couldn't imagine. I'd be having a panic attack on the subway. Are you based out of where are you based out of? Is it New York?
I'm San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco. Okay, when you
Yeah.
said subway, I just immediately assumed New York.
I know I use that term, but it's called Muni here. But I just wanted everyone to know what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah, I grew up in the Bay Area, like Sonoma,
Oh,
tiny
nice.
town, mostly named after like trucks are named after it. Sonoma.
Trucks are pretty cool, especially garbage trucks. Are you a garbage truck fan by chance?
I mean, as a little kid, I was kind of scared of them though, because like you just think that's where mafia crushes bodies. Like there's always like a scene in like Sopranos or something where
Oh,
like
okay.
someone's feet are disappearing into a garbage truck.
Oh, I thought it was just like some kind of Sonoma area thing where you had to like fear the garbage truck rolling by or something.
Yeah, they were monsters. That's how we crushed the grapes for the wine up there.
Yeah, I've been getting into garbage trucks recently. Quarantine's been super weird for me.
That's a new hobby for you?
Yeah,
Not a
like
kid hobby? It was
it's like reverted my brain back to like an infant. So like Yu-Gi-Oh cards are cool because they're shiny, and garbage trucks are cool because they're big and make noise. Like
loud and
automated
slow.
side loaders with their little arm just dumping garbage into their gullet. I don't know. It's been
Have you
riveting.
seen the video where the garbage truck goes out with the forks and it picks up a dumpster and it goes, and instead of like dumping it nice and neat, it shakes it a whole bunch of
Oh,
times. It's just like it looks like it has a tantrum and throws the garbage
oh,
everywhere.
I love it when it happens like that. Yeah, it has this like a full-blown anxiety attack. 100%.
Yeah.
Did you see the one recently where it caught on fire? That was heartbreaking.
A truck itself or a dumpster?
A whole truck. Yeah, it was a heartbreaking moment for garbage truck enthusiasts out there watching her go up in flames.
That's got to not smell good.
Yeah, no, that was a real bad day for pretty much everyone in that neighborhood, I imagine. We lost a
I
warrior.
loved my dad would say like we're going to the dump today. I would love that. And just go down to the dump and watch the. Do you ever have a dump? It's a small town thing maybe, but
Yeah, we have a local dump, and we went like 5 months ago because I told my friends I want them to take me to the fucking local landfill.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
beautiful. It's like a
quarantine.
big pit. Like, oh, that's what we do with our trash. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's the only mountains we have in Florida. Is it's just like this giant garbage mounds that they usually hide under like a little bit of dirt. So it's kind of like this little natural wonder of Florida. It's wonderful.
And then they drive over it with the big tractor that crushes all the trash together. And
They're big compactors and stuff. Yeah, quarantine's been
yeah.
pretty weird for me.
But did you like the dump?
Oh
You
yeah,
like this is what yeah.
no, it was like the Super Bowl for me. I had a great time. So kind of just to bring it back to Psychonauts 2,
Oh,
though.
that's right. Psychonauts 2. There we
You,
go.
you mentioned Easter eggs. Besides, of course, the masturbation stuff, is there anything hidden in Psychonauts 2 that any players haven't found yet, or anything like you're hoping, like, secrets you hidden there that hopefully people will find?
Not saying there's stuff, and there's little details here and there, and a couple hidden things, and I'm trying to like. Given that people played Psychonauts 1 for like 15 years and still found stuff, we got to make sure there's some deeply hidden things so that people can play it for 15 years and still find something to enjoy.
I always love when there's those things hidden in there. I think that really just takes the game to the next level and gives it kind of like a really long lifespan that keeps it in your memory. I love that, so I'm
And
excited
people
to
start
see that.
hacking it. People just start hacking and they find like unimplemented dialogue that they, like just secrets that are in the code that aren't even in the game. And so
Yeah.
who knows?
It's a little harder now because people are just like actual tech wizards, so they'll data mine it and find it pretty quickly, but even still, it's a fun hunt in the moment. Jackson wants me to ask you one question: is 5'6" short? I don't know why.
Well, not if you're talking about like dogs. Like that's a really enormous dog.
That is a big dog, but what about like
Yeah.
a full-grown man?
It's all really more about your personality and confidence. I'll say that.
That's
So you can, yeah.
that's usually what I say as well. Well, I think we're pretty much out of time here. Lifting my confidence at the end with the 5'6" comment. Really appreciate you taking some time, man. It was super nice to meet you. This is a big moment for me.
Oh man, so great to be here. Thanks for playing the game and playing it all the way through. And oof. And even if you cheated, I think you really should feel good about that.
Thank you. Yeah, even cheating, it'll never take away the fun I had with the game. There's one more thing that I have to ask. This is just for everyone that watched the stream. Is there any plans with the Milkman going forward? Perhaps, maybe not like exclusive to Psychonauts. Maybe the Milkman has his own spin-off. Prisoner of
Yeah, Twitter
Azkaban
account.
stuff.
Milkman still tweets conspiracy theories on Twitter. I didn't make it. Some crazy bot out there is talking like the Milkman. But the Milkman, everyone's got a Milkman inside them. You never know when it's going to emerge and start throwing the special deliveries around.
Yeah, his milk is delicious. That's for sure. Thank you so
Awesome.
much, man.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for playing. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.